With an impressive history dating back over 7,000 years and enormous enigmatic pyramids and other monuments to its grand past, Egypt offers to you a history that you couldn't take your eyes off it. That's why our university had planned a visit to our great Alexandria National Museum to take a look and to know how great our ancestors were. So we went there and we were amazed about what we saw. There, we found that they are dividing the museum into sectors depending on eras. So we have there 5 sectors, which are Pharaonic, Roman, Coptic, Islamic, and recent. Therefore, I'm gonna talk about each one of them in brief. First, the Pharaonic sector, where the greatness of pharaohs is showed up. There, we saw a lot of statues for kings and queens of ancient Egypt, like Akhenaton, who believed him, and his wife Tia in Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him. Second Ra, Ramses II, that some historians say that he is the pharaoh who was battling Prophet Moses, peace be upon him. Hatshepsut, Isis, and Osiris. Also, we found statues for gods like Horus, the son of Isis and Osiris, that had the form of an eagle. Statues aren't confined to kings and queens, but also we saw statues for servants that are made with the same quality of statues of kings. We saw jewelry, papyrus, and wall charts. We also saw jars used in the time, and we saw a small model of the statue of ancient Egyptian writer, which the original big one of the same statue is in Sidi Gabr and is known by everybody. And finally, we saw a cemetery where we found 2 royal tombs. In each one of them there was a mummy that had been exposed to taxidermy. And there was a statue for the god Anubis to protect the dead bodies and the jewelry in the cemetery. Second, the Roman sector, where we find that the majority of estates are attached to Alexandria because it was the capital of Egypt in that time, when she was built by Alexander the Great. In the past, it was called Rakuda or Rakotis. Then it was transformed into Alexandria. In that era, we found a lot of statues with a perfect body because sculptors were searching for perfection. Also, we find that the most of statues are naked. There, we found statues for Roman and Greek gods like Zeus, the king of gods, Athena, the goddess of war, Poseidon, the god of sea, and Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty. Also, we found statues for monsters like Medusa, which was presented on a wall chart done by mosaic. Medusa has a well-known myth, which is that she was hooking up in the temple of Athena with Poseidon, and when Athena saw her, she cursed her because the temple is a sacred place where she couldn't do anything. That's why she had to be punished until her death. So she transformed her into a monster with a hair of snakes and with cursed eyes that could transform anyone who looks directly in her eyes into stone. But one day, a brave man came with a mirror, so she saw her reflection in it and she was transformed into stone. Third, the Coptic sector. The Coptic age has started at the 1st century after date. There, we found a lot of icons that represent the Holy Family's flight from Beit Lahm, known as Arshalim, to Egypt. The last dinner that represents Jesus the Christ with his 12 students and Yehuda, that was the last meeting between them before his crucifixion. That icon was drawn later by Leonardo da Vinci, but he did a mistake in it, and that is the reason of his fame. The baptism of Jesus by John the Baptist, who is known by Muslims as Yahya, peace be upon him, and the crucifixion of Jesus. Fourth, the Islamic sector. The Islamic age started at the 7th century after date when Amr ibn al-As conquered Egypt in 640 after date. We found there pieces of money which had on it the face of the caliph who ruled in that time. So we found a huge diversity in the shape of money that changed with the arrival of a new caliph. Also, we saw military stuff like guns, shields, iron helmets, swords, written on it some parts of Holy Quran to encourage soldiers and make them feel safe, spears and axes. Then we find some wall charts written on it with amazing Arabic handwriting. We found curtains and tissues with Islamic decoration. We saw jars and vases of that age, and we saw the maquette of the door of the treasury where people had been putting their money of alms, and the government was distributing this money over poor people who needed it. So we can say that the treasury had the role of the Ministry of Finance now. And finally, the recent sector where we found royal stuff owned to Muhammad Ali and his family, because that age started with his arrival to Egypt when he did a real renaissance to the economy, the education, the agriculture, and the culture of Egyptians themselves. He did a great job that makes us thankful for what he did till those days. So, in the museum, we saw royal house stuffs like plates, cups, bowls, and tea thermos. And all of these stuffs were engraved by the royal stamp. Also, we saw photos for the kings of Egypt since Muhammad Ali until Ahmed Fuad II. This visit proved to me that our history was not made by blood to be hanged on the walls, but to make us feel proud that we are Egyptians, that we belong to that sacred land.